Would you read the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Jackson,
Here.
Mr. Heflin,
Here.
Ms. Cordova. Here. Mr. Lucero,
Here.
Mr. Lopez,
Here.
Mr. Robinson,
Here.
Ms. Parker,
Here.
Mr. Bowen,
Here.
and Mr. Miller is absent.
Perfect.
And we have a
We have a
quorum.
quorum. Good to go. Mr. Rock is gonna lead us in the invocation, and then I'll lead us in the pledge. Everybody stand.
Father in heaven, we come to you again tonight to ask you to keep place blessing on this community. Watch over our citizens. Be with our students as they begin to start their school year this year. Be with the staff, and be with the teachers, the principals, and so. And with everyone who have something to do with the young people in the community. And come to you in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico and see it symbol of our against among the United Cultures. Next item is the minutes of the previous meeting. It was held on July 26, 2023. Those minutes are in your packet. I would like a motion to get those minutes approved, please. I'm not gonna read the minutes to you. You can get a copy. Yeah, we'll get you a copy.
They'll be online after they're approved.
Sorry,
They will be on our website after you guys approve them tonight. We will put them on tomorrow.
do you want a copy of last week's or just? We're approving last meetings.
They'll be posted tomorrow.
They're posted tomorrow.
Yes,
Not just one that will approve it, right?
Yes,
So they'll be posted. Sound fair? I'm sorry, there was a motion made by who?
Mr. Robinson.
Second. And a second by Mr. Bowen. Mr. Lucero's going to abstain since he was absent. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next item is a presentation. Mr. James Baca, are you out there, James? I thought I saw you. Young man. You'll come up front. Sarah, you want to come up here with? James Baca, water operator number one. Water operator one, here again. In recognition of the faithful service you have rendered the city of Portales. Is pleased to present you with a 5-year service order. There's been, thank you. And anyway, the skill, knowledge, and judgment that comes with many years of experience with this house. And one of the things that on behalf of the city of the house and its administration, the fellow employees, we're pleased to present it. So we'll be very excited to Mr. Young to share something. Appreciate it. It's not 5 years. It's a long time. It would appreciate it. Thank you. Next are items for the consent agenda. I'll read those items and then we'll approve those to be placed on the consent agenda by a roll call vote. Those items are as follows. Item 1 is a planning and zoning approval of a P and Z recommendation for approval of vacation of a right of way. I don't have to read the whole thing, do I, Larry?
Yes, sir.
The general thing.
Yes, sir.
So, Jimmy Chang.
Not for the consent agenda.
I'm just gonna read one.
There you go.
Oh, you can delegate others if you want. It just has to be read out loud for the minutes.
We have to read the whole thing. That's understandable. Anyway, the first one again, I'll start again. Planning and zoning is approval of P and Z's recommendation for approval of vacation of 20-foot right of way within the blocks 28, 29 of the Benson addition to the with the utility agreement. And that's presented to us by Kelly McLaren from the department. Planning, second item is planning and zoning approval of P and Z's recommendation for approval of vacation of 20 feet of right of way within blocks 28 and 29 of the Benson addition with no utility. Third item is planning and zoning, it's an approval of P and Z recommendation for variance to allow two residences. If I don't want to read them.
Who's a 60?
Or to allow two residences in R1, single family, 3 members. Or 4, the application 1 member against it passed. Fourth item is planning and zoning approval of P and Z recommendation for adult change from R1 single family to RA rural agriculture for the purpose of at 1814 North Main and the 2 surrounding non-addressed pieces of property. The fifth item is from the airport. It's a ratification of signature on the airport grant application. A grant application was submitted to replace the primary wind cone and install copies on RW 1-19 for $98,991. Design of 90% is paid for by federal, 9% is paid by state, and 1% will be paid by the city of Port Allen. Federal will pay $89,092. The state pays $89,009, and the city will pay $990. It is to have design ready plans for our 2024 construction. Sixth item is fire. Approval for the EMS fire chief and finance director to sign the grant application. FY24 grant application is for a new extraction equipment with a quoted cost of $114,604.56. That presenting the fire chief.
Mayor Jackson, just a correction on consent agenda item number 2, that should be a 60-foot right of way. And it was a 10-foot.
It was 20 foot, yeah. Yeah. The staff summary said 20.
I need to reread that was 60.
No, sir, it's just 60 foot. It'll be read, it'll be noted in the rep.
Is it up in 20?
Yes, number 1 is 20, number 2 is a 60-foot.
60. Everybody got that?
Yes.
So those are the items we were requesting to put on the consent agenda. And I need a motion for that.
Mayor, a question, I'd like to, need a motion on that, right?
You're right.
Okay.
You want to take an item off?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which one do you want to think of?
Item 3, and just for clarification, since someone was against, I'd like to hear the explanation.
Understood. Item 3 will be removed and we'll discuss it as an action. Any other items that the council would like to discuss?
No, sir.
Otherwise, then actually on the rest of those items.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to place these remaining items on the consent agenda. Motion by Mr. Robinson, second by Mr. Kaplan. Roll call is required. All right.
Yes, sir. Mr. Heflin,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
yes,
Mr. Bowen.
Yes.
Okay, so those items have been placed on the consent agenda. Now I would require or request a motion to approve those items.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Bowen, second by Mr. Robinson. We have another roll call, please, sir.
Sir. Mr. Heflin,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
yes,
Mr. Bowen.
Yes.
That's everybody.
Sir.
Okay, so that third item or is second, third item on the consent agenda is moved into the action items, and that'll be the first one that we're going to talk about. Oscar, that you should have a copy of that.
Yeah, I think I do.
The P and Z. So Kelly, if you'll present that to us, does everybody have a copy of their file?
Yes.
Approval of variance.
Page numbers in. It's this one right here, Judge.
Kelly, go ahead.
All right, thank you, Mayor Council. So this variance was brought by Adela Montoya. So she has one piece of land that's very large. It's zoned in R1, which is single family. They want to bring in a second residence, manufactured home to put on that land. So the land would have two houses. The property would still fit the setbacks that we would require. We'll still have the same yard, same distance from the other one, but it would have to go to variance since it is two homes on a single family land. 3 members were for the application. 1 member was against it. The concerns that since it was a single family home, they'd like to see only 1 home on there. And that maybe they could do a replat or go about it another way. And that was the concern that one of the members brought up, which was why they voted no. The other side, the other 3 argued that since it was a large enough piece of property, that the owners took good care of it. And that they promised to take care of the manufactured home that was there, that it should be approved. So that was why 3 were for it. 1 was against. Chad was also in attendance, so he may have some more insight for you as well.
I think this was something, this was the one with the deed, right?
Yes,
So the
and
deed at the support house was a little different. It was separated into 8 lots. We didn't seem to have a problem with it. It was for his son.
yes.
And he was gonna keep up with it. He is in construction, so we felt like it was warranted that there was enough room. That he met all the setbacks, that there wasn't a problem.
Anybody have any questions on that, Oscar?
I'm just glad to hear what the explanation was, since we're not a privilege to the meeting. And if anyone against, if there's some reason they probably would come here tonight to talk why they voted against it, but evidently that's not going to happen.
Yes, sir. And no neighbors had any were against the proposal either.
It was the committee.
It was, yes, there was a committee voting member.
What's the address?
So it's 1205 North Avenue O is where the building that's currently there is addressed on.
And the home will be behind.
Yes, so it's gonna also be, I believe, addressed off of North Avenue O.
Is that right by the 4-way stop at Lime? Is it Lime
Yes.
that runs up there?
It's on Haywood.
The cable?
Well, it's in between Haywood and Lime, actually.
What's the lot size?
It's a very large lot. I don't have it in front of me, but it was large enough that it meets the minimum of having 2 separate ones. So they still had the backyard setbacks, front yard setbacks, and side yard setbacks you would require in any home.
And that one has an alley too, right? In the backside.
It does, it's a large enough property. It has a weird platted alley that runs through it that's undeveloped. And then the access from the 2 roads, but I don't believe it has an alley that backs it. But it's a large enough property.
I know where it is.
It's on the cusp of the city limits.
Yeah, right
Yes.
on the list, yeah. Right there on the line.
It's not in the county, is it?
No, it is within city limits, but it's pretty close. It's kind of near outer areas over there.
The reason I ask is because when I was running, I was counting him as voting for me, but he was in the city, in the county.
Yeah,
And
this,
I always thought he was in the city.
no, this property does come up in the city. And it could have been annexed in maybe during it, but
I know the person real well.
Any other discussion? Entertain action on this item.
I mean, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ted.
We'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
By Mr. Heflin to approve, second by Mr. Ralph to approve this variance. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Thanks, Diane. All opposed, same sign. Right. Moving on to the other action items. Next one is a recommendation of approval of resolution 23-24-07. The time bar debt in the amount of $97,066.60 dating from March of 2019 back to January 1st of 2007. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is in reference to our annual time bar that we do every year. With the dates that you mentioned resulting in unpaid balances and no contact with the debtor. There were 246 accounts totaling the just over $97,000 that are deemed non-collectible after 4 years. Based on efforts by staff to collect on the account and locate the debtor. In accordance with section 37-1-4 NMSA 1978 time bar debt and section 3-37-7 of the NMSA 1978 accounts with balances resulting from no activity 4 years or older. The governing body or municipality may by resolution remove the non-collectible or unsecured amount from the list of accounts receivable, which leads us to the fiscal impact. The non-collectible amounts that are time barred will reduce the amount of allowance for non-collectible receivables on the face of our financial statements. And I'll stand for any questions.
Thanks, Chief. Yeah.
Chief Kevin, I just want to confirm, it's to January 1st to 2007. That's a 12-year gap. It's not typical of your request for these.
Some of those accounts may have been being paid on prior to that 4 years. And then there's possibility of the patient dying or them moving away, and that's being unable to locate them up to that point. You know, they started paying or whatever the result may be.
Because it's usually a 4-year gap.
It's usually a 4 year gap, but any of the ones that's past that 4 year mark are typically the ones that have either passed away or moved away, and we've been able to make contact with them to continue that payment. The majority of that 246 is from the 4 years, but there are a few of those outliers that we have to document.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the chief?
Mayor, I move to approve resolution 23-24-07.
Second,
Motion made by Mr. Lucero, a second by Mr. Lopez. Carla, would you read the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Heflin,
yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
yes,
Mr. Bowen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Chief, outstanding job yesterday. I know you get set a couple of live ones.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Nobody was injured.
No, sir.
Cool. Next item is 2025 for the 2029 infrastructure capital improvement plan, ICIP, discussion and presentation. Sarah, are you taking it?
Yes, sir. Mayor, council, good evening. As you can see, Chris is going to pull up, so everybody in the audience can see it as well. If you could pull up to 2025, please, the bottom tab. We met with the ICIP committee, and this was the recommendations. The first 1 through 12 was done by committee. And then it was suggested we take it back to the projects committee to finish out after 12. And there was some discussion on the 1 through 12 from the committee as well that we'd like to discuss with you tonight. On your staff summary, you'll see a side-by-side. The first 12 was done by committee, and on the side-by-side, there were some suggested changes. One of the suggested changes was on item number 10 to switch that out with the steel well, which is the big street roller, because what we're trying to do is get our streets equipment enough pieces of equipment so they can do some of the work themselves. And that would be a substantial piece of equipment that is needed in place of a street sweeper, since we do have one that we're using.
You said we do have a street sweeper?
Yes,
We have a working one?
yes.
Yes. Me too, man.
Was that ours or the state's?
If it was on our roads, it was ours. Well, we helped the state with theirs as well. So there's a very big possibility it was ours, but I will find out for sure for you on that one.
I guess I didn't understand what you said. You want to swap out number 10,
Yes, we would like to change number 10 to a steel well, which is the big roller.
the big roller?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
that's the, like you put on a apparatus and go down and sweep the street with it?
Well, no, this is the one, Stephen, would you like? No.
When you.
Yeah.
Work on
That-
Like flattening it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. We don't already have one of those?
I don't think we
Yeah,
have.
but it's a dinosaur. We can't get parts where it goes up.
Yeah, it's outdated.
So that smaller one, too, don't we, Steve?
What's that?
Smaller one?
Yes.
Yeah, the Smaller one that we take to the jobs. Yeah.
Anything to improve the streets.
The other recommendation was to move the Eastern New Mexico Regional Behavioral Health Facility to the top 5. All the surrounding entities that we're partnering with on the facility is putting it in their top 5. And it suggested that if we are collaborating together, that we have, every city is doing the same thing, every county is doing the same thing in their top 5. So it's recommended to move up the behavioral health facility within the top 5. The other suggestion was to place item number 13, to purchase a new Class A pumper fire apparatus.
Move it where?
Item number 13.
To where?
It was on, it wasn't actually added in it because the committee told us to come back and do 13 on. So we would like to add that as item number 13.
Oh,
Which one is that?
Yes, I'm on this.
And then the next item would be item number 14, to purchase an oil distributor. To purchase and equip an oil distributor for the street department. Number 16, we asked to be moved up to switch it out with the street sweeper, number 10. Number 17 would be to purchase an excavator. Number 18 would be to purchase a street patcher. Number 19 talks about city hall improvements, which includes the drainage at the area of the new city hall. And then number 20 is a secondary emulsion tank. We did get ICIP funding last year for an emulsion tank, but we did need 2 tanks.
So the line of thinking is to move the things that make you capable to be able to make street repairs, equipment for that.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about, go ahead, Danny.
I just have one question on number 7, the cemetery expansion.
Yes.
Says do we not already require that?
So we did get the cemetery, but we still have to do the infrastructure, which means running all new water lines, doing, maintaining the roads, developing the plots.
I was just going off
I like
because
it.
it says in the box
I like
to
it.
require that.
I think we should change the language in that from require land to require
Yes.
land.
Yes,
Take
we
that
can
one
take
out.
that out.
You know, we need a plan, design.
Just a plan, design.
Yeah.
Good
Yes.
catch.
We can update that.
Requiring more land.
No, thank you.
We've got a house out there, we can't keep empty. Is- So on number 5, let me ask this real quick while I'm still confused. About the number 15, regional behavioral. We want to move it up into the top 5
Yes, sir. And that's to be in collaboration.
again, Mike.
That's to be in collaboration with the other entities. They're asking for that in their top 5 as well, and we're trying to get regional funding. And it's proven that if you're doing a regional project and you keep everything the same, unified, then you will have a better chance of getting the funding.
That's Curry, Clovis and Roosevelt County.
DeBaca,
Baca.
Coy, and
Have they already done that?
I think 4 of them have already passed theirs at the top 5. I think we're still waiting on Roosevelt County, the city of Portales. And I want to say Clovis had theirs last week. Yeah.
Move it up to number 5 and move the transfer station.
Just everything was down or?
Move or shift everything down.
So transfer station go where?
Under 6.
6.
You're right, right.
You have a question?
I had one question.
Go ahead.
Okay, Jake had a question.
No,
Oh.
sorry.
What I'm worried about is that our application we processing an application for funding from the Water Trust Board for some of these projects
Yes.
and where are we on that?
We've submitted our letter of intent and we've requested $60 million.
How many?
60 million,
60 million.
80 million? My apologies, 80 million. I stand corrected. We did 2 applications.
So it's 80 million.
Yes.
And the reason I asked that, I've been jumped on several times by state senators thinking there's a lot of money up there.
Yep.
And they also I'm quoting AJ from the municipal city league at our last meeting. He said we should really move forward and try and get that money because there are monies up there for us
Yes.
to acquire.
The application process opened in August, but we've been communicating with AJ and his staff since before August. Because at one time we were told we couldn't until we close out our last water trust board, and then they changed the rules and they are allowing us to apply now. So we did submit 2 applications totaling $80 million.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for being the staff for doing that.
Is
'cause
that the top 2 items that we're looking at on our
Yes.
ICIP?
Yes, it is.
It's top 2.
Yep.
It's 60 million and 20 million roughly. That's the cost of those 2 items.
That's
In-
what,
in-
that is approximately what we need, yes. And that,
So 60 for well fields and 20 for
is
storage.
that how you have it broken up, John? 60?
First application is $20 million for the storage project. The second one is $60 million for wellfield expansion.
You are correct, Mayor.
They're just opposite.
Yeah.
But together.
But together.
Well, thanks staff for doing that because I believe Christmas is gonna come this year. Sure.
It's
What
good to hear.
about on number 3, the street improvements?
So the committee recommended that we put residential street improvements and not tie it in any specific street. That way, if we get funding, we can come back to council and get your recommendations on which street you would like us to focus on. It's a generalized request.
And I noticed a little bit further down the line, there's some specific streets as well.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
what's gonna happen with the boom truck?
So our boom truck, we're having issues with right now, and that is to request the purchase of a new boom truck.
Yes, but you moved it from number 5 to that other number, whatever it was.
We moved it down to 6, right?
7.
7.
Or 7, my apologies.
Yeah, everything will go down one.
By
item
1, yeah,
from the-
Well, we sure need a boom truck,
yes.
and I think we have one, but it's not running, right?
We have to wait for parts and they're coming out of Florida, so we are on back order for those parts.
It's the 1950s model. I'm thinking of the one they used to send out to the softball complex, John.
Oh,
Change those lights out there, Steve. You remember that one?
Yeah.
That one, is that the same one we got?
No, it's a different one.
Oh, okay.
No, that's-
Yeah, we got a bit newer one.
I think that's Mike Flynn's.
Huh?
I think that one's Mike Flynn's.
it still works.
The Don's.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yes,
Any other concerns, questions, Sarah, where we at?
that is all the record.
Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Mayor.
Sarah, is the street sweeper then still number 10?
Yes, ma'am.
Or
We're-
it's gonna go to 11, or no, it'll stay at 10?
Actually, we would like to switch that out with where we have the steel wheel. So it would switch places with the steel wheel, move further down so we can ask for more equipment up higher.
So it'll actually move to 17 after. everything.
Yes. It'll move to 17, yeah.
So the motion will be to accept the motion to approve the ICIP as changes are made.
The recommended
Recommendation
change,
from the city
yes,
staff.
if that is your,
Thank you.
Diane, do you have another question?
No, that's all. Thank you.
I would just request your consideration of moving the new type 1 ambulance up to a higher rank position, to receive more consideration. Our 4 ambulances, our newest one is 10 years old, all have an average mileage of over 100,000. We're reaching the end of their service life, and that would be greatly beneficial to their future life.
What number is that, TJ?
that's number 11.
Say 11?
They say in the top 15, right? It's still, it's kind of like the 15 are the ones
That's what
that.
we thought last year, and we didn't receive any money last year too. So just for your consideration.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind bumping it ahead of the boom truck myself.
Yeah.
You'd like to put it at number 6?
Swap.
Or swap 'em out?
The ambulance,
Be number 7.
be number 7.
We can do that.
Thank you for your consideration.
What do you think about that?
I like it.
I like it.
You like it?
I got the shit.
Yes, sir.
Are you, on number 8, are you taking out the pool improvements?
Nobody suggested that.
I'm sorry?
No.
Says pool improvements changed to purchase pack.
Go to 9.
So we're dropping it down to 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just dropping down the list. It's not changing in the top 12.
Well,
Well, number,
Reading that off of this one.
brings me to number 9, Sarah, on industrial park improvements. Is that four-way that we've already been, that we're already working on?
Yes.
Do we need to have it that high since we're already working on it?
Well, so the county is only able to do chip seal, micro sealing. We're requesting concrete work out there so that road will outlast
Okay,
for a longer amount of time.
thank you.
Yes.
Right, I'm reading what the looking at on the.
The staff summary, right?
Says full improvements towards the purchase price. Yeah, it's on,
That's probably subcommittee, staff subcommittee.
That's what we're looking at voting on to change everything to. There's correct.
Daniel's referring to this. that's
Oh,
on the
instead
agenda.
of this
So
one.
this says number 8,
Right.
full improvements changed to to purchase patcher.
So this was just a subcommittee, but I brought you like the most important pressing items. I didn't bring you everything on the right side.
Which is on this list.
I did not add it to that list because you didn't approve the changes, but I'm verbally recommending these changes. And these were all the discussed changes on the right side that were recommended by staff.
Who else was on that committee? I see a few committee.
I was on that
I was like,
committee.
You weren't, who else was on?
I was on it, I didn't make,
So the left side was that,
Meetings?
there was only one, I was at.
Mike Miller.
right? We only had,
Only one?
yeah, we only usually have one. And the left side is what that committee approved. The right side is what the subcommittee approved. Or suggested.
Myself and chair. I guess I see what Daniel's saying. Purchase patch, that's not gonna get lost up in the fact that we really talking about. Pool improvement
Right.
and not replacing that.
I didn't suggest that change. It was
Okay.
just suggested by the subcommittee. Because you guys had stated how important the pool was.
For
So I
the
left it.
intents and purposes of this week, we're looking at this list.
Yeah.
That's the one everybody's going off of. Daniel was looking at the other list. I'm the agenda,
We just wanted to provide you with some of the subcommittee conversations, but yes, you're looking at the big
which
list.
is the subcommittee conversations here.
Yes,
This is the one you're actually wanting to approve.
yes.
Okay,
Now, good.
yeah, we good.
Okay. Good to use too.
My apologies. I just want to make sure you had all the information.
Well, I think that's kind of too much information. And we should have put on here that, hey, this is the, we're, this is the subcommittee list. This is the actual list that we're going with.
Okay.
Which I thought, I know this is the one I'm making the notes on.
Yes.
And we're moving them up and down on this.
What we're looking at the screen though is what we're wanting to approve, the recommendations other
Go back
than,
to 25.
um,
This is the one we're looking at, right? That screen should match with what we have right now, that screen.
but we're moving Eastern New Mexico Regional Health Facility to 5.
Right.
And everything else is dropping down.
Is dropping down. Yes,
Gotcha.
And then we're moving the ambulance up.
to 7.
Oh, the ambulance up to
Ambulance is 7.
with the boom,
Right.
switching with the boom.
With this, yeah, to 6. No, to 7.
To 7.
To 7.
Yeah, because it's pushing everything down by 1.
And we're taking
Don't go
the
to the
cemetery,
changes.
the land portion off of that.
Yeah,
To acquire,
Off of the description.
that's
Right.
what I got so far.
Yes, and I have that removed as well.
just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
And down
Perfect.
16 or 17 street sweeper for the purchase.
Yeah.
Purchase. Let's just swap. Swap from number 10.
Yes,
Right.
10 and 16.
Mhm. Which are now 11 and 17. Keep that straight.
I got it.
Okay. What else is on here you want me to discuss? We kind of get stuck in this first top 10 or top 20. Now, our goal is the top 15 supposedly
Right.
make the list.
Right.
Now, we've had that ambulance on the top 15 for what, 4 or 5 years.
Yes, and that's why he's recommending bumping it up.
We need to move on. Okay. Carry on.
And that is the only changes that we have at this time, unless you have something else that you would like to see changed. In the top 15, top 20.
Anybody on the committee had any other comments or anything about the process?
I like the changes that we made so far, Mike.
About the process.
But I appreciate Sarah bringing the committee recommendation of the residential street improvement. We felt that, let's put it in all in one aid basket was better than trying to spread it out to every street. And I think we can get better. We can ask for, I think we talked about one lump sum for street improvement, then the staff will decide which street we want to fix.
I think that that's one of the reasons we haven't had that funding sometimes from the state level during the monies that the senators. Representatives give us. That can, that's one, what's it called? Capital outlay.
Capital outlay. And that,
This will get spanked every year.
and then lay it on the staff to come back with a recommendation for the street they feel that need to be fixed, if we can get the funding. That's so I like the idea. Thanks, Sarah, for putting that in there. Like that again.
Anybody else that was on the committee have any other thing, anything else to add? It runs all the way to 2029.
I think it was discussed in the committee that our packets to our representatives will be better this year than most years.
Yes.
So we're gonna kind of revamp our packets according to some advice we've got. We'll ask the capital outlay.
Yeah, anything that we can do to improve that, will, hopefully. Go a long way. One of the things that I learned from last year. Was a present. We gotta figure out a way to make a presence up there, with our council and our. Staff.
Mr. Mayor, also I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up what Senior Lopez suggested. He suggested we need to. I think it was him, Chad and myself should spend some time in Santa Fe. Contacting not just our representative, other representatives and spend some time with the governor and so forth. So we all kind of agreed to do that.
I think the more representation you have, it seems like the more, it can benefit us. I think that's the game that has to be played. My personal opinion. Anyway. Okay, we're at the.
Mr. Mayor, would it be open to public comment?
On the ICIP.
We had it at the last council meeting, public comment was when we started talking about the discussion originally. This draft is due by August 16th, and we have to get it into the state.
Marty, were you at that last meeting and had some input on it?
Well, it's just that I didn't realize there was this pretty big list. And the pool seems ridiculous. That's where it is. I mean, we're under water restrictions right now. We have other things on that list that rank higher than a pool. And if the pool is not bringing us revenue, we gotta consider, we can't even sustain the water that we have now for our citizens. The pool seems a ridiculous idea to have on a hotel. Needs to go on with this.
We'll take it under consideration. Thank you.
Okay.
So where we're at is 2025, 2029 infrastructure capital improvement. This is an action item. So in action to approve this.
I'll move to approve.
Jim.
With said changes.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lucero with the changes that were noted. Second by Mr. Bowen. Do you roll call? Let's have a roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hopland,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes,
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
yes,
Mr. Bowen.
Yes.
The next item is the recommendation for approval of resolution 23-24-20. 23-24, a resolution adopting 2025 infrastructure capital improvement plan.
Yes, sir. And I just want to point out to the audience, and this is a living document, so this changes not only every year, but we still have the chance to go and change it after we submit it on August the 16th. We'll just have to do an amendment. So this is something that can continue to grow and get better for our city needs.
Yeah, because something may also make them up as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, the third item is the recommendation for the resolution.
Motion to approve resolution 2408.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Heflin and second by Mr. Robinson. Carter, would you read the roll again?
Yes, sir. Mr. Heflin,
Yes.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes,
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
yes,
Mr. Bowen.
Yes.
Resolution approved. Number 4 is notice of intent to adopt ordinance number 766 and ordinance granting certain rights and privileges to Yucca Communications Systems, its directors and assignments. Pardon?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Council. This is an ordinance to replace 727. 727 expires. It has a term limit every 5 years. So this is something that we have to do every 5 years, granting Yucca Telecom franchise.
One of the things that always comes up on this too, and I know that, last time we had a big project was getting wireless community, whatever they were.
Dark fiber.
Hmm?
The dark fiber.
The fiber, that's right. And ripping up those alleys and the contractors. Came back and repaired some of it and some of it didn't, and. I personally believe that that's the reason our alleys are the condition they're in today. So I don't know if this, I didn't read this strong enough to. See that the language is in there, but I did see some language that they're supposed to make any kind of repairs, if they damage.
Yes.
And I just want us to be able to have some keys. What happens?
Yes, sir.
Because I know last time we was rounding around with that company that was. Ran that fiber optic from the county down to. That alley in the bank behind Valley Furniture. You were in it took forever, but it was bad. Finish that project. You may not have been here. Anybody else have any comments on ordinance number 766? And again, this is just a intent to adopt it. We'll have a discussion that's 2 weeks from now.
No, Mayor, I'm glad you mentioned the damage that, when they're installing, to put it back to original abandoned condition, I would think that's gonna be important.
I'd entertain action to approve. The notice of intent for ordinance number 766.
So moved.
Second. We won't be second by Mr. Robinson, all in favor, stick to saying aye.
all right,
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next item is public input, for which no action will be taken, we matter not known about, or which been not approved, received prior to the time of the public hearing agenda. This agenda item is for informational purposes only. First is public comments, so we limit 30 minutes per speaker, limited to 1 presentation per meeting, and no more than 6 speakers on the subject. Councilors will not respond to comments or answer questions to avoid any violations of the open meeting act. Direct any question or request for information to the city manager in writing during the regular business. That being said and read, anybody from the audience want to talk tonight?
Well, this has been kind of a boring meeting. So
Identify yourself, please, for the record.
I don't think I have to with Fourth Amendment.
You
do I?
need to.
Need to for the record.
Chris Gay. So I've been coming to a couple of meetings. I plan to come to more. Just want to see what's going on, make sure everything's up to par. I don't know if any of you guys have read this. It's an open meeting act, downloaded right off the webpage, Attorney General. This whole 3-minute thing, it's not in here. Doesn't exist. One thing I've noticed in some of the meetings I come to, like this wonderful woman had a comment, y'all allowed it. Other times y'all shut them down, tell them not to speak. It's not in here. People can speak. They have a First Amendment right. Y'all need to allow people to speak. You guys not being able to make comments, not being able, it's not in here. You guys should interact with the public. You guys should answer questions. That's what you guys are here for. If you haven't read this, you need to read it. I read it today. Not in as much detail as I probably need to, but I've got stuff highlighted and I know what you can and can't do. And this 3-minute stuff doesn't fly. Nowhere in here does it give you the authority to limit people on what they can talk. Nowhere in here does it give you the authority to limit how many people can talk. In fact, there's even an example in here that the Attorney General gives of a meeting going until 2:15 in the morning. So guess what? People can speak, people can interact with you guys. That y'all's purpose here is to speak, interact with the community, answer questions and concerns for sure. That's why they vote you guys in. They want to know that you guys care about what they think. They want to know that you guys care about the things that are important to them. So we need to be doing these things right.
Anyone else? Okay. Anybody on staff?
Can you update us on the water or tank levels?
Right now, the well field is exactly as it was before. We can't produce any more water than we did before. But with the conservation efforts that we've been seeing from our residents, that we have been able to rest some wells on occasions, which is very, very encouraging. We've had, the tanks have been full most days. We have had a few days where they slipped 4 or 5 feet, but we were able to regain them. But the big encouraging thing for us is the fact that we're reaching the point where we're able to rest some of our wells. Now, that doesn't mean that we can produce anymore. That just means that the demand has dropped off significantly, which is exactly what we need to do. Now, even with that, those wells that we've rested haven't recovered their pre-pumping season levels. But it is good that we've been able to let them rest. Every hour that we let them rest is an hour that we're going to gain somewhere else.
John, I need to ask you a question. Do we have any control that, since we give the water, sell the water to the county, do you have any control on telling them to the same rules they put on the city custom?
Yes.
Well, we haven't done it.
Sure, would you like to?
Yes, so we are working through the contract for that portion right now. We have asked them to slow their usage. They've assured us that they're in the process of doing that. We also have the ability to throttle back if we need to, but we are waiting on a finalized version of the contract. So we have the support behind it that we're going to need to move forward.
Have they, with the meters reduced as much as the city residents have? No.
No.
So they're not following the restrictions but we are.
There's an 80,000 in cat ranch up there sucking that water out. They're on cool water. Why are they being?
What'd you find out from the contract?
We, Mr. Poole has indicated that his clients are in agreement with the changes that we made. They're supposed to get a signed contract back to me.
That's
Yeah, they're working with us. They understand. They said they are implementing plans to limit the water flow. But like John said, the amount they're using daily is still remaining constant.
And we requested their users. Are they going to be able to tell us what their users are doing?
They haven't given that document. They haven't responded on that aspect yet. Right now, we're just dealing with reducing the water usage.
Well,
You can't cap range it.
Daniel?
Just quick question, executive order or executive session, can we do that without being on the agenda, or does it have to be posted on the?
It has to be posted on the agenda.
Thank you.
If there's no action taken, you can't call an executive session with no action, no action. Just discussion.
If it's a valid emergency, so if it's a crisis or an emergency that we have to address tonight, yes. We can make an exception, but we have to come out and notify what the emergency is.
Okay, yeah, we wait on. One thing I would suggest in I was in discussions with Mr. Miller earlier this week and what we discussed is one thing that to do with our water is to maybe think about hiring a different engineering firm to come in and give us an oversight of our water, of our tanks, of our well system, of our the water plan. You know, one of the things that we discussed too that I couldn't remember when we came up with the stages. The water rationing stages.
That was done under Tom Howe.
I couldn't remember. I don't think city council then too, but I just couldn't remember. And so anyway, I would like us to think about hiring an engineering firm to, just under.
Do a complete analysis.
Come in and give us just a back up our findings and make sure that we're same page on that. Yes, sir.
You know, there seemed to be, I have observed in the community a very strong concern of what the city is doing and what the council is not doing, and vice versa. And I think that, for example, Open Meeting Act, I was hoping our attorney, who's an expert on that, will establish a workshop for the community about what the goals of the Open Meeting Act is and interpret it, because the Attorney General has an opinion, which means it's not law. And so, and I was wondering if you, Steve, could work a workshop, or is it worth having a workshop talking about Open Meeting Act for the community and the council?
If that's what the council wants, certainly we can set that up.
I think because it's a lot of misinformation. I serve on several committees throughout the state. And I think that I'm not an expert on Open Meeting Act, but I never heard such issues that were brought up in this community. So I just wondered if you could do that for us.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be a good idea along, the town hall type atmosphere. That would be nice for communications. Figure that out and make sure we're on them. That makes sense.
Because our role is not to be unavailable. And so I think that our staff break their neck trying to have information out there, and I think that there are violations on the Open Meeting Act, and if you believe there's a violation, you should file a complaint. And that's what the law says.
Correct.
And you don't have to bring it to the council. You can just write a letter to the city manager saying that we violated Open Meeting Act. Very simple. And you have to state to what the violation is. That's the law of the state. And it's not an opinion, it's the law. If we violate an Open Meeting Act, then those folks believe that should write a letter to the city manager and state it. I'd rather for that to go for a jurisdiction rather than you're wrong and you're right.
Just hearsay.
Yeah.
Why the city manager? Why don't you write a letter to the attorney general?
No, the law says.
That's where it's coming from, man.
I'm talking about if you're a citizen, have a complaint against the violation of the meeting, I have to send it to the chief administrator of the city. And then that's just a complaint, need to be filed with the chief administrator.
You see, the council, the city manager's under the council. So if you want anything done, you have to do it by attorney general. And I don't think we're doing nothing wrong, so.
You're missing my point.
I know.
You're missing my point.
Any other discussion? Any other comments? Anything at all?